Ma'am, please have your seat. Ma'am, will you briefly tell about yourself?
Sure, sir. Hi, sir. I'm Mayank Gupta. I hail from Jaipur, the pink city of Rajasthan. Being grown up in a culturally rich environment, I grew up as an enthusiast of both art and academics. My love for acting helped me connect with more people, while my aptitude in mathematics helped me to get into IIT Bombay. At IIT Bombay, I further explored my interest. In first year, I grew fascinated towards macroeconomics and its application towards real-world economic challenges. And this prompted me to change my discipline from civil engineering to economics, which I further delved into in deep understanding. In my final year, I got an opportunity to work for an investment bank, which was involved in mergers and acquisitions. From the past 2 years, I was involved in the team, honing my financial and analysis skills and strengthening my financial acumen. During this time only, I got interested in the opportunity of RBI Grade B, and I was immediately drawn towards it because of its role profile and my skills and interest to make an impact, larger impact in the economy. And that's why I embarked on this journey. And from past few months, I'm dedicatedly full-time preparing for the RBI Grade B exam.
Okay. Earlier you worked also for about 2 years.
Yes, sir.
What was that company doing?
So
What was
it's
capital?
So it's a investment bank whose focus was at financial advisory to our clients related to mergers and acquisitions.
Over a period of time, there are amendments in the Company Act about the mergers and acquisitions. So, what is the story line?
Pardon, sir. I'm not aware of this.
You are not aware of that story. Okay. No problem. Now, if one has to, you are IIT Bombay and you know about that movie, there is a lot of emphasis on the startups.
Yes.
Now, to promote the startup culture in India, what are the different schemes which the government of India has introduced, and what are the basic requirements for an entrepreneur to start a business? And if suppose you have to start a business, okay, how you will go about it and what facilities you will draw from different government schemes and different open platforms.
Yeah, I'll like to take a moment to before I speak. So first of all, if you want to do a startup, then it's an expectation that there is some disruptive idea that is going to add some value in the industry. So first of all, I'll work on the idea, consolidate that whether this idea is making some value add or not. I'll soft check it with the existing industry partner. Then post the idea, I'll need a team and I'll need capital so that I can build upon that. In the capital part, government has come up with various initiatives like Startup India, which was started in 2016, and Stand Up India. So Stand Up India is specifically for entrepreneurs who are from underprivileged background, from SC, ST categories, and even for the women entrepreneurs to get an easy access to capital and with either nil or very low collateral. Post getting capital, I would also need in the expertise support, and for that various incubation centers, those are also needed. Government has also made efforts in incubation centers. I'm not exactly remembering the name, but there are few incubation centers related to agriculture as well as other fields also. Then I will test my startup in incubation in a controlled environment, and I'm fairly confident on my product, I'll launch it and see the market reaction. And this is how I'll proceed.
What is the angel capital, then the venture capital?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
True, sir. So initial capital maybe that I may even get some loan or a small funding from informal sources. But yeah, if I want to scale up my startup, I have to pitch in other investors as well. So angel investors are required when I need funding at early stage of my career, at my startup. Whereas if I go forward, then venture capitals are also required so that they can provide their expertise in the field and scale my startup.
Since you are a product of the IIT Bombay, there are a lot of campus placements also.
Yes.
Do you think that this, to go for your own business, startup business, it is a second choice? Because if you make it as a first choice, then you lose the chance of your campus placement. And once you lose the chance of a campus placement, then you lose the chances of getting into a service initially and subsequently also. There is a lot of this thing, problem there with your placement. So what is your own assessment? Whether the startup is the first preference among the students or the youngsters, or it is the second preference among the youngsters?
So there are 2 points coming here in my mind. First of all, the trend that we currently see, and second, the few initiatives that IIT Bombay has taken regarding addressing this issue. So the current trend that we are seeing is that there is an inclination towards starting up among the graduates, which they do which they do start in the third and even in the final year. But generally it is seen that the placements happen in the middle of the 4th year, the middle of the final year. So before committing full time on their startup, they do sit for placements. That's the current trend I have seen. However, coming on to what IIT Bombay has taken, the steps they have taken in this direction. So they have started an initiative where they allow the graduate students to again sit for placements after 1 year or 2 years of their college. Given they don't take placement in the final year, they don't sit for placement in the final year. So I think this is a good step that they have taken in this direction.
Okay, very good. Now, when related question to this is that for higher education and for other education facilities, there are lot of, for education itself, there are a lot of Government of India scheme for giving them the loan, soft loan.
Yes.
Do you know about the latest scheme which is towards the higher education, higher technical education?
I'll take a moment to think about it.
Yeah.
So a few schemes are coming into my mind. I can remember there's a Shreyas scheme which is specifically for basically underprivileged category. And if they want to pursue education in undergraduate field or even in PhD fields also. Apart from Shreyas, there are a few other schemes also launched by Government of India, which is Yashasvi scheme, which is specifically for the other backward classes. Then there are a few more. Unfortunately, I can't remember them right now, but these two are coming in my mind.
What are the facilities which are available under these schemes? Okay,
Yes.
Loan is there. Loan is otherwise also provided.
Yes.
But what are the government initiatives to make it more easy? Or
So apart from the loan, government also provides residential facilities to the students.
no, the loan component. There is an interest subvention is there, or what do you mean by the interest subvention, or whether it is available
So
under
generally,
these schemes?
yeah. So generally, there is the subsidy is given. Like the government pays for the tuition fee that the students are for the course that students are enrolled in. Generally, if the students not going for PhD, I have not seen a scheme that the
No, what we are talking about for the moment is about the loan.
Yes.
If the government is providing loan, there is a scheme of the government. Suppose the latest one was the Pradhan Mantri Mahalakshmi Vidya scheme or something like that, where it was for a higher technical education for IIT itself.
Yes.
For a particular income bracket, there was this interest subvention of 3% was there, and no collateral requirement. So these are the basic components of the educational loan,
Okay, sir.
which is facilitating.
Yes.
Because it is slightly related.
Yes.
If you are taking an educational loan, whether you would like to go for the startup also to take another loan to start up. So that's why it came to my mind.
This
Okay.
Shreyas and Yashasvi are the scholarship scheme,
Yes.
not loans.
Loan,
Yes.
not loans.
Got it,
So
sir.
there is another loan scheme, I am just forgetting the name, where up to 4 lakhs you can take and it is totally interest free. If the income is less than 4 lakh of
Okay.
the parents. So
I'll
there is
definitely
no,
check that
there is no
once I've
interest on it.
done the interview.
Okay, now for India, the electronic sector has been identified a way for a faster development in India.
Yes.
So, what are the different steps or initiatives which are being taken by Government of India to promote the electronic industry?
So definitely, electronic sector has driven the growth of Indian economy. Even if we see it in the contribution of within the tertiary sector that electronics has provided. I believe the government is taking efforts on multiple aspects here. That is, first they want to promote the exports and the export component that electronic services have. Also, the government want to promote the domestic manufacturing that regarding the electronic components that are being used in the different devices. And there is also a focus on innovation. That is the design capabilities that India should gradually develop the design capabilities of the electronic products, not just the manufacturing aspect of it. I can remember that through the Make in India policy that government has taken, it is focusing on all these three aspects. That is exports, manufacturing, innovation, and skilling of the labor force as well to enable all these three efforts.
Okay, when you have talked about the skilling of the labor force, you just tell me that how we are trying to reap the benefit of the demographic dividend, which is in our favor.
Yes, sir. So skilling is one of the very important part if we want to reap the dividends of demographic advantage that we have. The government is aware about this situation and it has also come up with the various initiatives. For example, if we see the recent union budget, the government has announced about the employment linked incentives that they want to provide to basically both the newly inducted workforce as well as those who are in the who want to do internships. So the government is promoting them by giving incentives to manufacturers so that they can induct more labor force, they can increase their manufacturing. They are also promoting the service sector labor force by giving them incentives as a one-time salary so that it can ease out their expenses and they can learn better. Apart from that, so this is regarding the employment linked incentive and internships and internship promotion. Apart from that, the government is focused on imparting them education through skills as basically seen from the amendments in education policy.
Last question from my side, again related to your background. You have been skilled in an institution.
Yes.
IIT Mumbai, one of the best institutions where the skilling is provided, high level skilling. Another thing is what you are talking about is the apprenticeship scheme, where the skilling is provided in the industry. Perhaps IIT Bombay may also be having a component of the attachment with the industry or something like that. So, what are the plus points of skilling in industry, and what are the negative points of getting one skilled in an industry as a part of the government scheme? Means now government is giving a scholarship. Means directly it will go to the industry. The stipend which is being given to the student that will be routed through the industry directly. What are the challenges in that so that it is not misused? And what are the challenges that the industry does not take it as a ways and means for a cheap labor?
Yes.
Because it is for skilling purpose and they try to take it as a ways and means for their otherwise cheap labor. So how do you, if suppose you are there in the government and if you have to frame the policy for checks and balances, for this scheme? How you will frame that?
Okay, sir. I'll take a moment before I
Yeah,
answer.
definitely.
So few things that are coming into mind as related to checks and balances. First of all, when this scheme progresses, when the employer-linked incentive progresses, government needs to be aware about what is the general trend of the backgrounds of the students and of the workforce entering through these schemes. Apart from checking the background and keeping a track of the trends in the background, the government needs to be aware of how they are progressing across the years, across the months within the industry in which they are employed. If it comes to that they are being stuck there for 1 year, 2 years, they are not progressing, then it means that simply they are being inducted for cheap labor. If they are being progressed, then it means that some value addition is being provided to them. Apart from that, keeping a look on financial aspects of the companies, that the labor component or the labor cost that they are incurring and the average labor salaries that they are giving, that is in check. So these can be the initial indicators of whether there are some red alarms or not.
Okay. Another last question. I am just feeling tempted to ask. Now there is another again a trigger for the farmers' agitation, and one of the demands are the same or the issues are same. The one trigger is that the scarcity of the fertilizer,
Yes.
which is suddenly emerged there, and the farmers are feeling agitated. There is a lot of blacking on this fertilizer availability. What are the reasons why there is a scarcity of fertilizer?
Unfortunately, sir, I haven't delved into deeper of this issue which has recently
It
arrived.
is basically related to a geopolitical problem.
Situation.
Situation.
Yes. So few factors that I can think of is that when fertilizer is manufactured, ammonia is major component that is used in it.
Okay.
Basically ammonia, for producing ammonia, basically either India can make ammonia, it also imports the input which goes into manufacturing ammonia and then into fertilizer. So given the geopolitical tensions have increased, the scarcity of inputs and ammonia related inputs have arisen. And then that is one thing. Other thing is that the fossil
Because
fuels,
of that, what are the direct relation of the geopolitical development and the import of the ammonia?
yes, sir. So because of the geopolitical tensions, there are some tariffs. There are some developments related to tariffs.
Rerouting of the shipment. About the Red Sea.
Red Sea.
Yes.
There is a rerouting and it takes more time and more transportation.
Yeah, because of
Yes, sir.
So it has become costly. Okay, thanks from my side.
Yeah, he was talking about education loan and all. And do you think education loan which is being given, are they collateral free or they are unsecured loans?
I'm not aware about it. However, I can take a educated guess from my understanding over it. They are collateral free in my understanding.
Yeah,
Whatever
most of them are
flows,
And what is the position of NPA in education loans?
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not aware.
Education loans, NPAs are quite high in education loans.
Okay.
So that is one. So banks are doing it under pressure from the government, but basically this is one sector which is not, NBFCs and all they were also giving. Now they are not very keen to give. Achha, this interest subvention he was talking about. There's another sector in which government gives interest subvention in lending. What is it? Which is that sector?
I'll like to take a moment if I can recall that. Ma'am, as far as I remember, in the business, like to promote business, government gives interest subventions. For example, the scheme that I mentioned, Stand Up India, Startup India, in which that government was giving interest subvention. However, this is only I can recall.
What about agriculture?
Yes, definitely. Government is providing interest subvention with that. For example, through Kisan Credit Card also, the government provides interest subvention of around 3 to 4% to the farmers.
Okay, what do you mean by interest subvention?
Yes. So basically, when the banks lend out to the borrowers, banks incur some cost of money, and they and to earn a profit over because they are commercial banks, to earn a profit, they charge some interest. However, when government says that they are providing interest subvention, so they tell the bank that of the say 10% of interest rate that you are charging to the borrower, 3 to 4% the government will be providing to you, and you give the loan to them at a lesser rate, that is 6 to 7%, and the rest we will be giving you. That's the.
So this is it is given to everybody. Interest subvention is given to everyone.
Ma'am, it's given on the need basis. Like there are a few criterias of income and whether the person who is borrowing is from underprivileged section or not.
No, I'm talking of agriculture loan.
For agriculture, ma'am, I'm not aware about the criterias. However, if I would like to take a guess that in agriculture it is given to everyone.
No, it's not given to everyone. Only those people who are having KCC and all, and KCC is also 3 lakh per acre, not more than that, because otherwise 25 lakh and there's a criterion how much you can give against one that, and it is only interest subvention is only given when there's a recovery.
After recovery.
Okay, after recovery only it is given. Okay.
Otherwise it will continue.
Otherwise, yeah.
If it is a failure,
yeah.
then it
So
will
if
continue.
recovery doesn't come, it's always a back end. Subsidy is always a back end subsidy. You see, after you recover, then only its subsidy is given, or any interest subvention is also given, interest rate is also. So it is not given beforehand that you give 6%, 3% I'll pay. No, you give at 10% only. After he returns you the money, then government reimburses you, then you pass on that benefit to the borrower. So this is one thing. Regarding this, you were talking of innovation in controlled environment. So you have heard about regulatory sandbox?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
It's an initiative by Reserve Bank of India, in which the Reserve Bank wants to promote innovation in the financial sector as well. But it also needs to be sure that the innovation that are happening, those are not disruptive in a negative way. So Reserve Bank has come up with this regulatory sandbox in which it invites startups and various groups which have some initiatives in their mind, and it gives them the opportunity and the infrastructure to test their initiatives by giving them a controlled environment, by giving them a sample of population of users in which they can roll out their product.
We are having an innovation center also in Reserve Bank. Where is that?
Ma'am, are you talking about RBI Innovation Hub in?
No.
Yes, ma'am, that is in Bangalore.
Bangalore. And who's heading it?
Ma'am,
No idea.
I'm not aware.
Anyway, coming to this merger you were talking, na? You are.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's a term amalgamation and merger which is used in banking.
Yes.
So what is the difference between two of them?
Amalgamation and merger. Ma'am, in amalgamation, actually, the thing is that when two entities come together, the identities of both the corporates are dissolved and a new entity is formed. That is amalgamation. Merger can mean that. However, there's a difference between acquisition or merger. So this is so in acquisition, one company acquires the other, and the entity, the acquiring company, it retains its entity. Whereas in merger, both of them loses their entities.
Merger
is also acquisition.
Acquisition, like acquisition.
Acquisition is
One
like
loses
only one.
Yes.
Like PNB and New Bank.
Amalgamation, both.
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Earlier you told
Oh,
this thing. Amalgamation is all right.
Okay.
Merger and acquisition, one loses the identity, other retains it.
Okay.
We were talking about before you came about digital arrest. What is digital arrest? You did a lot of instances which are
Yes, ma'am.
coming in the newspaper.
I've heard this term. I'm not able to recall it right now. Sorry, sir. I'm not able to recall.
Okay. And we have an ombudsman scheme in Reserve Bank. What is that?
So it was currently RBI has its Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, which was launched in 2021, and this was meant to specifically to address the retail customers who were having grievances in the banking services that they were getting. So Reserve Bank earlier came up with multiple ombudsman schemes related to the banking grievances, the NBFC grievances, and the grievances related to digital payments. However, in 2021 it combined.
It's okay. You tell me now what is it? Ombudsman scheme.
Yes.
So what does ombudsman's role is?
it mediates the resolution of grievance between the aggrieved person and the entity from whom he's aggrieved for. Majorly in this case, regulated entity banking.
Okay. And is there any time frame for that?
Yes, ma'am. There is a time frame. Unfortunately, I'm not aware about the.
There's no time frame. And any cost involved?
No, ma'am. For the for the one who is lodging the complaint, he doesn't have to occur.
We have an ombudsman in insurance sector also or not?
Ma'am, I'm not aware about RBI. That whether RBI has. I don't think RBI has an ombudsman in insurance sector.
RBI will not have it.
Yes.
IRDA will have it. Okay. So there's an insurance ombudsman over there. And now we'll talk about something very how many security features are there in Indian bank note? Give me 3-4 features.
Okay. So there's an intaglio printing of a few features like sign of the governor.
What is intaglio printing?
Raised printing basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Then there's watermark of Gandhiji on the banknote. Then there's a metal strip passing through the note to enhance its security.
Security thread.
Security thread. Yeah. So these are the security features. Then there's bleed lines also, which are meant to help the visually impaired users of the note.
That's not a security feature.
Yeah, that's not a security feature. That's a silent feature. Then there is a micro printing of Bharat and RBI on the portrait of Mahatma Gandhiji.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the few features I can recall.
Do you think that with the various payment systems coming into the vogue, the use of cash has come down?
Ma'am, the use of cash, there has been alternate sources of sources which can be used in cash. However, in trend the cash usage is rising. Like the digital payment transactions are also rising, and cash usage is also rising. This is the trend that we are currently seeing in India.
What is cash reserve ratio?
Ma'am, the Reserve Bank requires the banks to deposit certain proportion of their assets with the Reserve Bank, and currently it is 4% of the net demand and time liabilities of the banks. This is done to basically ensure a buffer for the banks, and this is called the cash reserve ratio.
Why buffer for the bank is required?
Ma'am, because banking is a risky business in a sense that they have liquid liabilities, while their assets are not so liquid. They majorly have loans in it. So many times banks face a mismatch of asset and liabilities, and that's why they need to keep a buffer in case any mishappening occurs in their business processes.
It is not because of ALM, that is mismatches. Basically, this is to ensure that banks don't lend everything which they receive as a liability, and there's a cushion. So in case when a depositor comes, the depositors, the bank have enough fund to pay the depositors, and it need not be kept with Reserve Bank. They can keep it with themselves also. Okay. Only you have to see that. You have heard about currency chest?
Currency chest.
What are currency chests?
This is the mechanism that RBI uses to disperse the currency notes throughout the country. So apart from the RBI has developed currency chests, which are I'm not sure about the number. It's around
number is not important.
Yeah. So these are basically secured physical infrastructure in which the cash is capped. And
RBI doesn't have it. Banks have
it. Yes, and so RBI uses banks for this purpose. And through these currency chests, the currency is distributed through ATMs and others.
Okay, and there was very recently there was kind of a withdrawal of a note. Which was it?
Ma'am, are you talking about the 2000 note withdrawal? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So it was withdrawal in unfortunately, ma'am, I can't remember the month and year of
May 2023.
23. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's still being exchanged by Reserve Bank, no?
It is, ma'am. It is still a legal.
Is it legal tender?
It is legal tender.
What are the difference between legal tender and withdrawn note?
So legal tender is something that has a backing from the government, that this is still what we consider a currency.
You can't say no to exchange. That is legal tender.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Achha, so in case of banks, we have a capital adequacy norm. What is a capital adequacy norm we have?
Yes.
What do you understand by that?
Okay. So capital adequacy. So ma'am, as I told you before, that bank as a business, they have their liabilities as liquid one, because that anyone can withdraw at the demand deposit anytime. However, their assets are not so liquid. So basically, capital adequacy is required in for the banks, so that in case of any mismatch, or in case of if basically, so that they don't lend out very much, they don't lend out. So that's why capital adequacy is required.
So how much is the capital adequacy banks are expected to have?
Ma'am, in India it's 11.5%.
CRAR is 11.5%.
No, ma'am, the capital adequacy is 11.5%. However, if we talk about CRAR, it's 9%.
CRAR and capital adequacy are related or not related?
Actually, ma'am, I am little confused about that. So what
CRAR, capital adequacy means there is enough capital. So a bank is basically, again, we are concerned about as a bank is concerned. Capital adequacy, of course, international concept now, but from the very beginning, we are concerned that depositor interest. I mean, the most basic function of Reserve Bank supervision is the depositor interest is intact. Okay, it is secure. So that is why capital adequacy is. So 8%, initially it was 8% of the total assets. You have to keep, the capital has to be 8% to the weighted assets. So that is it.
Government started in 1999 with 9%.
Yeah, so that is it. So that is a capital adequacy. CRAR is also capital reserve to asset ratio. That is that is part of capital adequacy. को CRAR में define करते हैं उसको. When you have to say something in terms of physical numbers, then we call CRAR. Otherwise, the term is capital adequacy.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And what is income recognition?
Ma'am, as far as I recall, it's a concept of accounting, in which basically from at what time the income is to be recognized from the service user, that is decided. Like that is all.
नहीं. Income, when you give a loan, there's an interest which has to come to you. That is accrued interest. ठीक है? आपके end of the month आप calculation करते हो कि इतना आपने कोई interest आपको borrow को. That is known as accrued interest. When it is realized, then it is known as income recognition. When you get it, then only it is recognized as a income recognition. Earlier, what we were doing is, most of the banks were doing is, when it used to accrue, they used to treat it as a income. Now we don't treat it as an income unless it is recovered. So that is known as income recognition. So they are all related concept. Income recognition, non-performing advances, provisioning, asset classification with non-performing advances आते हैं, and capital adequacy, they are international norms, prudential norms उनको बोलते हैं. So you read a little bit about prudential norms. Okay. Thank you.
So Mayank, you have mentioned that awarded a change of branch from civil engineering to economics.
Yes, sir.
In second year.
Yes, sir.
So you changed your branch.
Yes.
So why from civil engineering to economics? What made you?
Yes, sir. In first year, actually, we were going through courses of almost all branches that are available in IIT Bombay. It was kind of introductory course that we used to go through. During first year only, I came across the economics course as well, and the macroeconomics part of economics is what fascinated me. I liked the concepts taught about it, and its nature of being applicable to the real life economy, and that's why I liked it, and I took the decision to change it.
Some examples of real life.
Yes. So how the inflation and the growth works, and how the decisions of government or the central bank can change the trajectory of the inflation or growth. Like that was something very interesting for me. And macroeconomics is all about discussing about this and the various theories proposed for it.
Yesterday, MPC highlights were announced, or MPC announcements were there.
Yes, sir.
So, what are the highlights?
Yes. So first of all, the interesting highlight was that the MPC has decided to keep the policy repo rate constant, that is at 6.5%. At the same time, the MPC has decided to lower down the CRR, cash reserve ratio, from 4.5 to 4%, as was the level in April 2002. This was regarding the actions that they have taken. And regarding the projections about the inflation growth, the MPC has lowered down the GDP growth projection from 7.2% to 6.6% for FY25. At the same time, the inflation rate for FY25, that has been projected upwards from 4.5% to 4.8%. So this is regarding the projection part. Apart from that, the MPC has also made many announcements regarding the miscellaneous announcement, we can say, regarding the mulehunter.ai. They mentioned in it.
What purpose they have introduced this AI?
Yes, so this has been introduced by Reserve Bank of India Hub, Bengaluru, and it is to basically develop a infrastructure to for fighting the frauds happening in the within the banking system. So they are
For the mule accounts.
For the mule accounts.
Okay, so what are the direct and indirect instruments of the monetary policy?
Okay. So difference between direct and indirect tool relates to the fact that monetary policy wants to control the inflation, mainly the inflation, with an objective.
Only give the examples. What are the?
He's asking.
The direct tools contains tools like CRR, SLR, and basically these two I'm currently remembering. Whereas indirect tools contains tools like all the unconventional tools, first of all, like forward guidance, moral suasion, as well as the LAF corridor. That is also comes under the indirect tools, policy tools.
This repo rate, reverse repo rate, what are those?
Yes, those are indirect tools.
Okay.
Anything which directly controls or affects the money supply, the volume, that is direct. Anything which affects basically the cost and other things. Cost को वो करके आप supply को ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उसका impact उसके ऊपर हो ही हो. ठीक है, the only cost you are doing at high cost also sometimes you buy, you think that if you raise the price of something, people will not buy it, but if the thing is good, people will still buy it. So it is like this. But if you take away the supply, then actually people cannot buy it. So it's like that. So anything which is directly affecting the money supply, that is known as direct tool. Anything which is generally the cost or any other thing which is indirectly affecting the money supply.
Yes.
Money supply means inflation ultimately. That is known as indirect tool.
Okay, so sir was asking about the startup. What are the various stages in the startup?
Okay, so I'm not aware about the terms related to it. However, I can just give a simple understanding of that. First, there is ideation phase. Then there is fundraising. That is post ideation. You have to raise funds. You have to build up a team. Then you have to scale the startup.
Like you have heard about the pre-seed stage, seed stage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then have you read RBI balance sheet or have you gone through that?
So I have given it a glance. Yeah.
So agency fees, it is mentioned in the RBI balance sheet. So what is that?
So RBI uses various agency banks, that is the banks only, to conduct various operations that RBI is mandated, like RBI is entrusted with. And for conducting those, making those banks conduct those operations, RBI gives them the fee, and that is called agency fee.
So what are the various operations?
So for example, currency management, via currency chest, that is one.
नहीं currency chest के लिए कोई fee नहीं pay करते बात है.
Okay. Sorry sir, I'm not aware about the various services that.
Agency fee is given when we are banker to the government also. So in far-flung areas, we are not having our branches as a bank. So State Bank and other banks are doing this agency function on behalf of that. Basically government business, that pension payment and other things. So for each transaction, we pay about 60 rupees or something like that. So that is known as agency fee.
Even for zero balance account also they give some agency fees. That is what I heard.
जीरो बैलेंस अकाउंट वो ट्रांजैक्शन बेसिस पर कर दिया अभी उन्होंने. हाँ, जो इसीलिए आपने देखा होगा बैंक से एरियर आते हैं ना पेंशन के, तो वो क्या करते हैं इकट्ठा ना देने की जगह अलग अलग देते हैं, बिकॉज देन फॉर एवरी ट्रांजैक्शन दे रिसीव 60 रुपीज. इन माय टाइम इट वाज 60 रुपीज. आई डू नॉट नो हाउ इट इज नाउ, बट इट वाज दैट. That is known as agency fees.
Have you heard about EBLR?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
It stands for external benchmark linked rate of interest,
Lending rate.
lending rate. So RBI has come up with a rate mechanism by which it guides the banks as to what interest rate you should charge, or from that rate you can take guidance of the interest rate you should charge. So EBLR is one such interest rate, one such mechanism or one such framework that RBI introduced, in which RBI said that you can take the EBLR as a reference, where EBLR stands for external benchmarks that you can use. And in this, as far as I remember, RBI spelled out that what are the various external benchmarks that you can use, like the policy repo rates, the 91 treasury bill rates, the 182 treasury bill rates, etc.
So who issue these rates?
Okay. So, for example, the policy repo rate is basically disseminated by RBI itself, whereas the rates related to the treasury bills, those are as per the government securities market that is happening.
Then who issue these rates?
So there's one more benchmark that they told, that is the benchmark published by FBIL,
Yes.
Financial Benchmark Index Limited, India, and they also published the benchmark.
These treasury bill rates also they are handling.
Yes.
What was the external benchmark earlier was used internationally? After an issue, and what was that issue? The whole world switched to the other reference rate.
So I'm not getting what.
LIBOR, London Interbank
Yes.
operating rate was the rate. LIBOR was being used earlier as an external benchmark world over, but there was a big scam using it on account of that LIBOR. They were, certain bankers were using it as a cartel, and they were manipulating LIBOR. Because of that, this shift has happened.
Yes.
So now MIBOR, I think they are using
Mumbai Interbank.
Yes, sir. So
that is being issued by the FBIL.
Yes.
Okay. What about? Have you heard digital payment index? What is that?
Yes, sir. RBI releases the digital payment index to gauge what has been the performance of digital payments in India.
Mm-hmm.
It uses multiple parameters to make its judgment, like what has been the access of the digital services that is in the country, how well are they being used by the users, and what quality metrics are they adhering to. So currently, so digital payment index is released twice every year, and RBI only releases it. I'm not sure about the current index value. So.
Okay.
Digital payment indexes with respect to all the transaction or non-cash transaction?
Ma'am, it's.
I mean, it includes. It is measured as a cash transaction also, or only non-cash transactions are included in that?
I'm not aware.
Okay. So, thank you.